Hello, you join me here at Bradford Forster Square station, which is the terminus of the Airedale lines. Now, in and around Bradford, as a class 333 pulls in alongside me, in and around Bradford, Leeds and the West Yorkshire area are the Airedale and Wharfedale lines, which are the electric commuter services which run between Bradford, Ilkley, Leeds, Skipton, etc. Now today I am going on the Airedale lines, which are the lines between Bradford, Shipley and up to Skipton. It does technically go to Leeds, but I'm going to be covering that in another video. So in today's video I'm going to be looking at all the stations between Bradford up towards Skipton via Shipley. We're going to be looking at the facts which you may not have known about, starting off here at Bradford Forster Square. But before that, let's have a brief history of the Airedale lines.
So the Airedale and Wharfedale lines are in the West Yorkshire metro area and connect Leeds, Skipton, Ilkley and Bradford together. The Airedale line consists of the routes from Leeds to Bradford and Skipton, whilst the Wharfedale line consists of the lines up to Ilkley and officially also the line to Bradford, meaning the section from Leeds to Shipley and Bradford is shared by the Airedale and Wharfedale lines, although officially the two lines are operated together by Northern. The Airedale line was opened in 1846 from Bradford to Leeds Wellington by the Leeds and Bradford Railway, reaching Skipton in 1847. From just before opening, the Midland Railway took over the running of the Leeds and Bradford Railway, which dented any hopes of a through Bradford station, as the Midland Railway, who ran Bradford Forster Square station, wouldn't work with the Manchester and Leeds Railway, who ran Bradford Exchange station. The route suffered closures on the intermediate stations in 1965 from the Beeching Acts, but the line remained open to Skipton and Bradford. Many stations were gradually reopened in the 1980s and 90s, but former stations such as Newley and Horsforth or Calverley and Rodley remain closed. Currently there are 19 stations on the Airedale and Wharfedale lines. In 1994, regional railways electrified the line to 25 kV AC overhead catenary, with Class 333s introduced from 2001 on the line to replace the ageing Class 308s, and more recently, Class 331s have been introduced to supplement the 333s. The line is one of the busiest outside the southeast of England and suffers from overcrowding. There have been several plans to upgrade the line, including a more frequent service on the Bentham line north of Skipton towards Morecambe, whilst other service enhancements have been planned. Base service frequency is 2 trains an hour from Skipton and Bradford to Leeds, and 1 train an hour from Bradford to Skipton, but Northern also runs semi-fast services to Morecambe and Carlisle to and from Leeds using Class 158 sprinters. At peak times, up to 8 trains an hour depart Shipley towards Leeds. Today, we'll look at the stations from Bradford up to Bingley via Shipley, with the stations from Bingley to Skipton, and from Shipley to Leeds and Ilkley covered in future episodes of the Secrets of the Airedale and Wharfedale Line series. For now, let's rejoin myself at Bradford Forster Square and have a look at that station's history.
So yes, you join me here at Bradford Forster Square. Now this station has a very long and complicated history which I can't go into in full detail in this video, but the actual station that I'm standing on here is only around 35 years old. The original Bradford Forster Square station opened in 1846 before being rebuilt twice in 1843 and 1890. The original station was pretty basic and saw services from Shipley, Leeds Wellington and Euston via Derby. In 1853 the station was rebuilt by the Midland Railway and another rebuild in 1890 under architect Charles Trubshaw. That name is going to pop up quite a lot in this video, which included a large train shed, with the station being originally known as Bradford Midland and Bradford Market Street. At this point, the station had 6 platforms and took the name of Forster Square in 1924, 18 years after the nearby Forster Square City Square was opened. In 1954, the canopy was replaced by basic platform covers, and by 1960s, Dr. Beeching recommended the closure of many of the stations around the Bradford area and out of Forster Square, including services ceasing between Bradford and Leeds. The local services were scrapped. So the station now no longer really needed the 6 platforms. It was too big for its size and it didn't get too many long distance intercity services or local regional services. The station's future was actually in doubt, but Bradford Council insisted that the line and the station would be kept open and subsidised services under the West Yorkshire Passenger Transport Executive brand from 1974, with local services to Leeds restarting again. Intercity services did restart from London King's Cross to Bradford in 1988, but the station was still too big for its size and British Rail wanted to modernise the station as well as reduce its size. A new station 180 metres north would be constructed and the former station would be demolished and redeveloped into a shopping centre. By the time of the old station's closure, only 2 platforms were actually in use, and in June 1990 the new station, which I'm standing on now, opened with originally 3 platforms. With the station here at Forster Square being electrified in 1994, for the arrival of Intercity 225 sets. One is literally just next to me, which saw electric services commence around the Airedale and Wharfedale lines, which significantly bolstered and boosted the passenger service in the area, as well as the platforms being lengthened to allow for 9 carriage trains to serve it. More recently, a new platform 0 has opened in May 2025, which for some reason isn't open at the moment. I can't go onto it, they've barricaded it off. But a new platform 0 was added, which allows for extra London North Eastern Railway services to King's Cross to commence from the station. It now gets one train every 2 hours into London. The new platform cost £24 million and also allows for potential new northern services if they want to increase services for whatever reason. The station is only 750 yards from Bradford Interchange, where I started my day in Bradford, and there have been some plans to link them together in what was called as the Bradford Crossrail, but obviously that would be very costly. I don't think these have gone too far, these plans. The station was electrified in 1994. Today the station sees 2 trains an hour to Leeds, 1 to Skipton, I believe 1 to Ilkley, all operated by Northern, and 1 train per 2 hours to King's Cross by LNER. Gets around 1.5 million passengers a year in the last 2024-2025 statistics. 1 train a day also runs to Lancaster at like 6:40 or something. I don't know why. It doesn't even get return service, so if you want to go to Lancaster, you can't come back. There is quite a bit remaining from the original Bradford Market Street, or whatever it used to be called, Bradford Midland, whatever you want to call it. From the old original station, there's like a lot of old walls. St Blaise Square remains. There's a lot of old railway arches along there. The Midland Hotel remains, which was at the front of the original station. There are also plans to completely rebuild the station ticket office here, which were first proposed all the way back in 2017. There'll be a new station building, complete modernisation, but these have been delayed, and now they're not going to happen unless the tram between Bradford and Leeds goes ahead, the metro or whatever they're calling it. Although the tram service would terminate here at Bradford Forster Square, I believe funding was given in the budget in 2025. I think the Chancellor gave funding for tram services would begin in like the early 2030s or something. Bradford itself has a population of just over 350,000. It's quite a big city. It's historically known for the wool industry, has a large amount of impressive Victorian architecture, as well as having the National Science and Media Museum, the Alhambra Theatre, and was a City of Culture for 2025. Walking through the city centre, you can see a lot of the benefits of the City of Culture, a lot of improvement works for pedestrianisation. The actual city centre is quite nice. I'd never been to Bradford before. You hear a lot about it on the news, and yeah, I think it's nice. I genuinely didn't think it was that bad. And it gets pretty good train service as well from the 2 stations that Bradford has. Bradford is the world's first UNESCO City of Film. I don't really know what that means, but Bradford is it. And it's one of the youngest cities in terms of actual demographics. Forster Square, the city square itself, was demolished in 2006 to be replaced by the Broadway Shopping Centre. So the Forster Square that this station is named after doesn't actually exist anymore. But yeah, there's a lot to talk about here at Bradford Forster Square, but I don't have too long. I need to get on this train up to the next station, which is Frizinghall. So I need to do that. So yeah, not entirely the most in-depth look at Bradford Forster Square. It's quite a nice station. It does the job. It has 4 platforms, it even has a platform 0, which you don't see very often. But yeah, it does a job, and I definitely don't hate it, that's for sure. But yeah, let's get this train, a class 333, my first ever 333. I've never been on them before, so I'm quite excited for that. So I'll see you at the next station of Frizinghall. Hello, welcome to the first station out of Bradford Forster Square. This is Frizinghall. I thought at first it might be Frizinghall. No, it's Frizinghall. This is a pretty generic and dull station, if I'm being honest with you. Yeah. Now, side note, but for how funky the class 333s look, I thought they might sound amazing. That was my first time on a 333 and I thought they look super futuristic and they have this brilliant futuristic sound. No, they sound like the most generic electric multiple unit I've ever heard. And now there's a train passing through. I don't know what it is. This is a pretty new station now. There was an original station on this site which opened in 1875 but closed during the Beeching Acts in 1965, as did a lot of the intermediate stations on the Airedale and Wharfedale lines. Station closure only lasted about 22 years, as by 1967 the West Yorkshire Passenger Transport Executive along with British Rail reopened this station and rejuvenated the services along the Airedale and Wharfedale lines, as we'll see later in this video. And yeah, the station's quite basic. It is a staggered station and staggered platforms. I don't actually know why. I assume it's cheaper or there's more land or something. But previously both platforms were north of the road, so where platform 1 is down there for trains leaving Bradford, that's where platform 2 used to be. They used to be opposite each other originally. Now, one of the main reasons for this station's reopening was actually because there is a grammar school. Bradford Grammar School is not too far away, and a lot of the teachers were over here campaigning for the station to be reopened so that students and teachers could get to school. And that is one of the reasons that Frizinghall station has reopened. There's also this building behind me which looks pretty railway-like, but it might not be, so you can correct me if I'm wrong. Now, nearby there is the Ragtail Woods and Lister Park, which is home to botanical gardens and a boating lake. And actually the original signal box for Frizinghall station remains on the Keighley and Worth Valley Railway. But yeah, there's not a huge lot to say about Frizinghall, if I'm being honest with you. So we might as well head off to the next station, which is probably one of the most interesting in the whole video, and that is Shipley. So let's go there. Big junction station, lots to see and lots to talk about. I'll see you at Shipley. Right, hello, welcome to Shipley station. This is actually a really interesting station. It's one of the rarest types of stations on the whole of the British network. There's only 2 stations in the whole of the UK which are like Shipley. One of them is Shipley and the other is Oldstown, which is near Newton-le-Willows, near Liverpool. What is so rare about it? Well, it has 5 platforms in the face of a triangle. It is one of only 2 stations which has a triangle junction and has platforms on each side of that triangle. Platforms 3 and 4, which is where I'm standing now, are for services from Bradford, where we just were, up towards Ilkley and Leeds. Then there's platforms 1 and 2, which are for services from Skipton towards Ilkley and Leeds. And then platform 3 is for services between Bradford and Skipton. So the station here is basically the major junction point between the Airedale and the Wharfedale lines. It gets like up to 6 trains now or something into Leeds. It's quite a high frequent station, lots of trains, including one that's just pulling in now, and it's a really interesting station. The station here opened in July of 1846. It was a wooden island platform 200 metres south of the current site here. The current site here was opened in 1849 as the Triangular Junction Station, but it was completely rebuilt between 1883 and 1892. The station was increased significantly in terms of the footprint because the curves were too tight previously, so they had to make the curves less tight of the Triangular Junction. Charles Trubshaw, he's made an appearance yet again. He designed the current station, which stretches some 200 metres from end to end, with the main car park being the centre of the 5 platforms, which is accessed via a dive under. There's a railway bridge, you can access it, goes under the railway. Now the platform for services between Bradford and Skipton, which is the only single platform on the station. It did used to have 2 platforms, but in 1979, the second platform was taken out of use. There's a noisy 331 behind me. It wasn't getting enough service, and also even if they wanted to run 2 trains using it at the same time, because of headways, you couldn't have 2 trains using both platforms at the same time. So it was basically a useless platform. So now there's just one bi-directional platform for the hourly service between Bradford and Skipton. Shipley did used to have a previous station called Shipley and Windhill, which is actually just behind me over here, and it ran through to Bradford Interchange, formerly Bradford Exchange, with the final part of this line closing in 1968. It was like a local line. I believe that was a terminus, and yeah, closed under the Beeching Acts. Platform 3, the one that I'm on at the moment, between Bradford and Leeds, so this is like London bound. The platform behind me is platform 4, but this platform was extended in 1990 to allow for full 9-carriage intercity 225 sets to serve the platform. Previously what happened is sets would have to cross over because platform 4 was too short, so they would have to cross over and use platform 3. So platform 3 was bi-directional until 2025, when the platform behind me, as you can sort of see, it's quite modern, that was extended to allow for the LNER intercity services to use the platform. So now services between Bradford and London can use both platform 3 and platform 4. Platform 1 towards Leeds from Skipton was also extended in the same year, last year, to allow for up to 6 carriages to use the platform. And I believe there are 6-carriage trains running today. I was looking on real-time trains. There's a few 6-carriage class 331s running up to Skipton, which utilise that extended platform. In 1993, in the centre where the car park is, a butterfly meadow was opened by David Bellamy. He's a famous environmentalist and TV presenter and whatnot, and it's managed by the Butterfly Conservation. Station sees 4 trains an hour to Leeds, 3 trains an hour to Bradford, 1 train an hour to Ilkley, 2 to Skipton. That's all off-peak, there's more during the peak. And that also excludes any LNER services. They get 1 train every 2 hours to London, but I believe it's pick-up only at Shipley and set down only towards Bradford. So you can't actually get an LNER train to Bradford or from Bradford, because I guess the northern trains exist. At Bradford, on the information displays, it didn't state that Shipley was a stop on the service. So yeah, I think it was pick-up only going towards London. It also sees the more rare northern diesel services. This line out of Leeds is actually also the line which serves down towards Lancaster, or up towards Lancaster, Morecambe and the Settle and Carlisle line. This is where those trains go. So there's about 1 train an hour which runs from Leeds, which is a class 158, a diesel train. I think 1 train every 2 hours goes to Lancaster, some go on to Morecambe, and then 1 train every 2 hours goes to Carlisle on the Leeds to Carlisle, the Settle Carlisle line. So yeah, you can get trains from here towards Ribbles Head Viaduct and towards Lancaster and Morecambe, but they're quite sparse. It's about an hourly service combined. As a town itself, Shipley has just 15,000 people as a population, which is quite crazy given that the station has over 1.2 million people using it per year. I think it's probably quite a big park and ride station, and I assume quite a big interchange station as well. The town, like basically every town that we're going to cover in this video, is known for its mills and textile industry. Had a lot of old mills and things which have all been closed down now. But yeah, Shipley itself, pretty big station. It's a big accessible footbridge. I think they're quite new, probably early 2000s I would say, maybe mid 2010s. Obviously got the platform extensions, obviously it's all electrified. Gets a very good service. If I'm being honest, it's quite weird that the line out of Leeds towards Bradford and Skipton and Ilkley gets a very good service. It's a very well ran commuter railway, and you know, this is what can happen if we subsidise the railways. The West Yorkshire Passenger Transport Executive should be given a massive thumbs up for their subsidisation of this line. Electrification in the 90s, new trains in the early 2000s. The service is really good here, and it is one of the busiest commuter lines outside of the south east. Anyway, I let this train go through, and then I need to find a train which is going over to Saltaire. So now we will be on the Skipton line itself, so I need the next train to Skipton, whenever that is. Let's go find it. I'll see you at Saltaire. Right then, welcome to Saltaire, and no, we are not in Scotland. This is not Saltaire. This is, in terms of station wise, I've just hit a lamppost, but in terms of the actual station, it's pretty basic, but it's what's around here which is the interesting bit, because oh boy, is this part of the world quite nice. Station here is another reopened 80s station. The original station opened in 1856, closed in 1965, and reopened in 1984. It has pretty basic wooden platforms which are directly opposite each other, no staggered platforms here, and those nice brick waiting shelters. They aren't original, but I believe they're based off of the original station. It's basic. It's what's here, like above me and over there and everywhere else, which is the interesting bit. So yeah, Saltaire itself is actually a World Heritage Site because it is a Victorian model village. It was created by Sir Titus Salt. Hold on, there's a little kitty cat over here. No, look. Kitty cat, you need to get off the tracks. There's literally a train here. Well, that was fun. Saltaire is a World Heritage Site because it is a Victorian model village. A guy called Sir Titus Salt, hence Saltaire, came over here and was like, I own like 5 mills, which are scattered across Yorkshire. I want to put them all in one place. I want to build like a village that all my townsfolk can live in, and they can live in a nice town, and I can manage all my mills in one place. That's what he did. He basically just built a massive mill and, well, a bunch of mills in this area, a bunch of nice Victorian houses, and called it Saltaire, and it's here today. Anyway, yeah, Saltaire has a lot of cool things. It has the Salt Mill, which is now like a museum, an art gallery, a bunch of shops. It runs alongside the Leeds and Liverpool Canal, which runs also through Shipley, follows us all the way up to Skipton. The River Aire also runs through here at Saltaire. The whole area is just pretty, and also has the Shipley Glen tramway, which I believe runs like from the top to the bottom of a hill somewhere around here. The Hurst Mill Swing Bridge, which is on the canal, and the Saltaire Weir, which is on the River Aire. So basically, in conclusion, Saltaire is very pretty, and you should all come and visit it. And I was actually only meant to have 10 minutes here, but I need time to explore, so I'm going to have half an hour here, and then wait for the next train up to Skipton. In terms of frequency, the cat's gone there if you're interested. It went up there, it's okay. In terms of frequency, Saltaire gets 3 trains an hour into Skipton, 1 train out to Bradford, and 2 into Leeds. So I'm going to let the next train to Skipton go, spend some time here in Saltaire, because it's only midday and it's almost too pretty not to explore. And then we'll go up to the next station, which is, hold on, Bingley.
So yes, Bingley is indeed the next station down the line towards Skipton. However, to avoid this video being like an hour long, I'm ending my first half of my Secrets of the Airedale line video here just outside Bingley. In the next video, we'll have a look at the stations from Bingley up to Skipton before having a look at the stations on the Wharfedale lines later in another video. So thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you have enjoyed up until now. Thanks to all my YouTube and Patreon members, including first class members Aaron Barry, Crispin McKee, JBNEL and Phil Smith. My business owned members Andrew Bowen, Anthony James Moore, ARK, Connor Gregg, Clive Travel and Trains, Daniel Burford, Dave CDF, Jay Teco, Galia Lev, Lewis C21, Martin Thomas, NJTE, Ollie G, OVTUG Alex, Real, SZWL, Train Life GB, Tom Kennedy, Welsh Train Enthusiast, Will Ho and Zach Renfrey, as well as my standard premium and standard class members. Without your support, videos like this one would not be possible. You can join them on this list from as little as £2.99 a month, or support me from as little as 99p a month, and get access to exclusive members only videos and all videos early. Once again, thanks for watching. Check out my Discord server, Blue Sky and Twitter in the links in the description below, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.